Motivated by this comment by Joss, I wanted to share with you today one of my solutions for self-updating plugins, plugin packs, and my workflow for them, and the reason behind them, as well as explain how powerful linking plugins and sites together with these solutions really are. There really is almost no limit except your creativity. Firstly, I'll give you a little bit of background and say straight away, anyone can do this. I am no coder. I haven't studied code, but I have spent hours reading articles, hours on Stack Overflow looking for reasons for an error message or output into logs. Things have changed in recent years, though. Tools have got better, and documentation's got a lot better. I will probably do a workflow video at some point in the future, but I do have a few shout outs at the beginning of this video to shout out some of the tools I use and to hopefully help point you all in the direction of what I use to do these things so that it gives you an idea. The first one I'd like to mention, and it's the first of two by Bowo, is Debug Log Manager. Install it, flick the switch, put it to uh, constantly update, and that's it. You've got your logs, you've got your reasons, they're in there, and you can use that without putting variables. And actually, the way I output variables is using another of their plugins, Variable Inspector Pro. Now, it's easy, it's quick, you can see what comes back, how it works. It just allows you to output data to the logs and see them. It's really quite affordable. I think it's 60 quid for an unlimited site, one-time payments. Um, it just works. And yeah, I find it really useful to be able to, particularly when working with APIs and you're not getting the data you want out of them, output the data API log, the entire thing to your logs, and then work out where it's going wrong. Is it a spelling mistake? Particularly for me, I'm a dyslexic. Usually, it's a spelling mistake or a missing colon, or a semicolon, for that matter. Now, for one of the standout tools for me in recent years, in the recent last year, and actually something I didn't think I'd use, and that's DevKit by DPlugins. Also, the second plugin that I'm talking about them today. Um, and this is again really affordable, $35, 199 domains for a lifetime license. But honestly, what it can do is quite impressive, and they are still actively developing it and adding items to it. So actually, I'm really glad I got this. I don't leave it installed on the site, but for when I am developing a solution, it's really useful. You can install multiple plugins at once. You can update your plugins with it. You can download plugins, which actually can be quite useful if you just download something from the repo on WordPress.org. You can download it, open it up in VS Code, and begin working with it. And actually, it has an inbuilt file manager, which I tend to use for minor changes. You've got all these system. In fact, I don't use the debug options. I tend to use Bowo's debug log or variable inspector. The file manager is quite useful, and actually having adminer directly in the plugin, brilliant. It means I don't have to leave my browser. I don't have to leave where I am. It's all there. Yeah, really good. Even the reset options for wiping a site and starting again when you've made a mistake, quickly reload the plugins. Yeah, really, really a good solution. Now, Stack Overflow has been pretty much replaced by ChatGPT for me. I can quickly ask it what an error is, and it will give me usually enough information to track down the source of that error. While I've been using it a lot for that, where it comes into its own is what I call rebranding. A lot of my plugins, I use the same functions over and over again, and actually I'm going to do the same this afternoon. I'm going to begin working on a Cloudflare bridge to go with my IA bridge that I released yesterday. It's pretty similar in its output. It's going to an API, it's going to take the output, so 90% of it is going to be the same. And I want it to work in the same way. So I'm basically just going to take the code, whack it into ChatGPT, and tell it to change the identifier. So from IAWP, for example, to CFMWP, and that's it. By the time it will beaver away, it will give me the code back, changing that identifier, and it'll take less time than it'll take me to go and make a cup of tea. But I don't have to worry that I've missed one of those iterations and the code's gonna break. And I think this is really one of the standout methods of working with ChatGPT and what it can do, and it's getting better. And for things like that, to me, rebranding, renaming all sorts of stuff, it is just so useful. I don't have to sit there and type it out. It's quick. The computer's doing it, and to me, it's the true use of automation. Um, and one big change in the last couple of years is documentation. And a shout out to several of the plugin developers that we spoke about today, and also to from yesterday's video about MainWP and independent analytics. Documentation is key. If the documents give you an idea of what can be done, you then can begin to piece your pieces of puzzle together. And that's that's basically how I work. If I can find the bits, I then look for the tool that can allow me to connect the two. And previously that would have been Pabbly, or that would have been Zapier or Make, but much more recently, in the last year or so, actually that's been a totally different solution for me. And that's the purpose of today's video. Like a lot of people, I write custom functions, CSS and other items for my websites. They are in most cases totally unique to the website, and at the end of the build I connect them all up and put them in my own unique functional plugins called xxx.com tweaks and updates. But sometimes something happens, i.e. a plugin update or a hook changes. I may need to update several of these and send them to my sites quickly and easily. There are other circumstances where I've made a tweak or an improvement to the code within a plugin, be that premium or repo, and I need a way to distribute that tweak. This was harder. Enter the second plugin by dplugins that I'm talking about today, called Poster. And this has been my method of delivery, and it allows me to deliver both my custom versions of plugins without affecting their licensing, and also my custom tweaks and updates. Being actively developed, but it has become my delivery method of choice. I'm a Windows user. I have a mount of that repo on my computer and just drop the update to it, and they're ready. But I had an issue. I was still having to log into the WordPress site with Hostron and manually change the version number. So I had a problem I needed a solution for, preferably one I could use from the Windows command line, so it wouldn't need any logging into websites or anything special. So a batch script located within my path for easy access. So I decided to look at building a solution to allow this. I knew it wasn't a hoster issue. It's a WordPress issue really, but it's something that needed a facilitator. So I cracked out one of my favourite plugins from the last few years. Um, it's yeah, I'm glad I bought it. Natin, the developer, is amazing. He's helpful, always to show the community and what it can do, and the apps that it's connected to, and all the things you can do. And that's Flowmattic. It's just brilliant. There's lots of changes coming in terms of visual builders and other stuff, but it really works. It's the perfect WordPress ecosystem version of a facilitator. So it's your Zapier or your Pabbly within your WordPress installation. And you don't need to install it on every site. Really, I installed them on endpoints or receivers, so that I could process data, and that's what it's all about. And I think actually, as it's developed, it's got really more useful to me as a tool. It has loads of native interactions. Um, these are all integrated and ready to go, as well as the usual things you'd expect to find in something like this, such as custom actions, sending an email, API polling, etc. And again, it's affordable. It's not something you need on every site, as I've said. Um, so yeah, that's great. It's I have an older plan than this, but This is the current pricing at the time of recording this video, and yeah, when you consider it, what people would be spending in Zapier, and the fact that this is unlimited, it's limited only by your server or your hosting, then actually, yeah, at the top plan, they're saying less than £4 a year per site, $4 even, and yeah, that is really affordable, and it's really quite good. Um, so I set about working out a solution and created one. I'm going to put a clip in here now if I can work out how to do that. And it's a bubble I recorded when I created this solution, and it shows the workflow in action from the command line, and you can see the update happen in the site, and you can see me reverse that update and it disappear. And those updates, when triggered, will automatically go through as normal WordPress updates, which means they're totally updatable by MainWP as if they were a normal update within WordPress. There's no interference. It's comes straight out of my repo, downloaded. This is all I have to do when I release a new version. Create the version, upload it to my repo, run this command for each of the scripts that I'm doing it for, and that's it. It's done. So I'm going to play that clip now. There is no sound. It's about 50 seconds long. So welcome back. The code displayed on the screen will be below in the description for you to look at in your own time. I'm just going to quickly run through it, and so you can see how simple it is and begin to see what is possible with very little code. So how does this work? It's quite simple. A bit of bat script and a bit of PHP. These are connected within Flowmattic in a workflow, and that workflow looks like this. We have a webhook for incoming triggering. It triggers the PHP function, and then after that, it updates the post. So if we go back to the code, we can see we'll start with the triggering of the webhook. That script will trigger that webhook. It will pass a user enter variable. In this case, the user enter variable will be version. You can see here version, and that has a descriptor or a passback value of new value. It sends that new value to the webhook of version, so from 0.1 to 0.2. And if we head over here, we look at the function, you can see in the PHP function, we are taking that new value here, which we've described as using the meta key as value. And this is the unique post ID of the download from hoster, so that I can attribute it directly to the correct download. It's preset within both of these two actions, and it takes up my new value from the webhook and appends it to that meta key on that post ID. And if we go back here, we can see how that works. This here takes our new value and our meta key and our post ID, and it updates that meta value and tells us how it's done. So this sends our meta value, this receives our meta value, and then the web workflow updates our post type, which is a custom post type in this case, which is a download, and it updates the post ID with the new meta value, and that's it. The whole thing works on 35 lines of code and does something that I couldn't do before. And this is why I feel that we should facilitate these things. It's the use of these items, such as the update bat, the way they will talk to, they allow me as a user to use my computer to update my WordPress site and to interface as needed. Yeah, and that is really what I wanted to show today. It's really, really easy. It's simple, but with a little bit of creativity. And once you start to see some of these in action, you begin to see what you can do with them. So that finishes this, what is turned out to be a much longer video than I was expecting for today. As always, code and links are in the description below. Please don't forget to like and follow, and comment if you would like any deeper dives into my stack solutions or how I use plugins, code, and other tools to deliver what I want. I really hope the sound was better today. I'm using a headset. I will order and get a dedicated microphone, so hopefully they will be better moving forward. And thank you for watching. Thank you. Bye.